we're going to start up again. We have our morning keynote address, so don't go too far, or just stay in the room if you can. I want to give a shout out to Angelo State University, Texas, who's watching us. We also have the University of North Texas at Dallas. We have Mary Lou Fulton Teachers College at Arizona State University. The Center for Leadership, Equity, and Research, offices of Lozano Smith in Fresno, California. The Camaradas at Washington State University, Pullman. And Truckee Meadows Community College in Reno, Nevada. And since we're here, I want to acknowledge a special delegation from the California Teachers Association. Is the CTA here? Stand up. There's like 19 of you, I think. Thank you, all our delegates from CTA. Okay, Aaron, so we'll cut away for you for a couple of minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Murillo. Now, again, we want you to tune in on with your comments about the entire event. Just go to Twitter, hashtag LEAD2013. Let us know you're here. Take a picture of yourself. Show us that you're here.
We've seen a few already.
Yes, we have. And we're looking forward to a lot of the comments as well on the live stream. We've got quite a few already. We've got from Dallas, Dr. Romano talking with us there. We've got from, let's see, University of Washington State is online with us live right now. So we're looking forward to the next segment that we're going to have. We're going to have Dr. Raul Ruiz, which I am so excited to see again. I saw him at the Health Summit, and we know him as Dr. Ruiz. I think he should be one of those doctors, you know, on that channel with the doctors. I don't know why they haven't called him yet, but they probably, now they cannot even get him with his new appointment.
I hope we have the opportunity to talk to him, because I was reading a little bit about his bio, and I was impressed that he actually says that he actually went from throughout his community, from business to business, trying to get money for his education. And I thought, wow, that's determination to go to school and further your education.
Yes, exactly.
So I'd be curious to ask him more about that.
I'm curious to ask him what thing is on behind my head. Maybe you can get me a little inspection. Oh. I'm just saying, he's a great doctor. He is a doctor,
you're right.
He's a great doctor. See? But again, contact us. We're both on Twitter, Babel P. Aragon and Aaron M. Sanchez. And you can always follow LEAD as well, both on Facebook and Twitter. And I think we're about ready to get underway here with Dr. Murillo and the next panel. Take it away, Dr. Murillo.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, looks like we're ready for our next speakers. Next, we have Susie Sharweed, who will offer introductions for our morning keynote address. Susie Sharweed is Academic Coordinator and English Instructor for International Extension Programs at the College of Extended Learning here at CSUSB, and she is a doctoral candidate in the Educational Leadership Program. All yours, Susie.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Murillo. Good morning. It is such a pleasure and honor to be here. I'd first like to introduce our moderator, Trustee Mary Jane Sanchez Fulton, the daughter of an immigrant who has been in higher education for over 20 years. She's the only Latina ever elected to the Board of Trustees at the College of the Desert. She serves as the Vice Chair of the Chicano Latino Caucus of the State of California Democratic Party. And she's a national delegate for the 36th Congressional District and the first and only Latina. She will be moderating for us today. It is also my honor to introduce Dr. Raul Ruiz. He is not a politician, he is a public servant and physician, dedicated to serving the community. He is the son of farm workers, and he grew up in the Coachella Valley and learned at an early age that the key to attaining the American dream was hard work and a great education. In the summer of 1990, under the hot desert sun, Raul walked from business to business in the Coachella Valley, asking them to invest in their community by contributing to his education. With each investment for college, he made a promise to come back home and serve the community as a physician, which he has done. Some of his very many accomplishments. He has founded a pre-med mentorship program, the Future Physician Leaders Program for students from underserved communities who, like him in 1990, want to become doctors and return to their community to serve. He's helped open clinics, giving free care and health education to underserved communities throughout the Coachella Valley. He's on the Committee for Veterans Affairs and the Committee on Natural Resources. It should also be noted that he decided to run for Congress and serve to be the voice for his local community. Please join me in welcoming Congressman Raul Ruiz.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Enrique Murillo. Thank you, Dr. Tomas Morales. Thank you to the Cal State University San Bernardino for hosting this wonderful event. And I want to especially thank all the volunteers, all the students and professors and teachers that took time out of their busy day to make sure that the voice of Latino communities and education is heard not only throughout this country, but in several countries around our globe. So thank you very much for all of your work. I was asked to talk a little bit about my story in the hopes of inspiring the students, but I really want to let you know that in doing so, I do so with complete humility and complete understanding of where you are coming from. And I do so in the hopes of elevating your story and our communities throughout this great country so that we can look at education as the pillar of the American dream, so that we can look at education as the only means that many of us have when we grow up in underserved communities with no political friends or friends in high places or any other sense of hope and aspirations for those of us that whose parents, for example, like mine, did not have a high school education. That education is the way that we are not only going to improve ourselves, but improve our communities and continue to make this country the greatest country on the globe, in this earth. You know, I'm a congressman now, first and foremost a physician. Thank you. But I am a physician first. And my story in becoming a physician is perhaps a story that many of you are right now aspiring to do and struggling to become. But and I'm a congressman out of the Palm Springs, the Coachella Valley area. And like in many areas around our globe, and especially here in the Inland Empire and throughout our country, it's a dichotomy of worlds. And I grew up in the world where my parents were farm workers. My parents worked in the fields. My mother went up and down California to pick the crops and met my father in Thermal. He was a mechanic in the fields. We grew up with humble beginnings. We lived in a trailer. And I remember living in that trailer where we had to remove the tabletop, unscrew the pole, and put the tabletop on the bottom and put some cushions on top. And that was the bed that my brother and I shared. And it wasn't until my father was promoted to work in a packing house that we were able to move from our humble trailer and into our home in Coachella, where my mother still lives. It was a great day when we moved in, because we not only brought home our little sister, but we finally had our own bed, my brother and me. My older brother was the first to graduate from high school in our family. And it was my high school counselor that paid for my college application, because we couldn't afford it at the time. And he paid for one college application. My older brother was the first to go to college. In fact, he came to this university, at Cal State University, San Bernardino. And he had a friend, an African-American student by the name of Carl Smith, who graduated in this program. He was studying to be a college counselor. And he asked my brother, "Where's your little brother applying to?" He said he's applying to, and the school was a pretty well-named school, and it was the only school I applied to. And our friend Carl said, he's nuts. That's the only school he's applying to. So what he did, an undergraduate student with the heart of gold and dedication from this university, drove all the way to my home in Coachella to counsel me about college. And he not only counseled me about college, but he paid for my second application to the University of California, Los Angeles. So I applied, and I got accepted at UCLA. And my father did not know how he was going to pay for 2 boys in school. And I remember that day well when my mother came to me and said, "Mijo, your dad is really concerned about how he's going to afford 2 boys in college." And I said, "Oh no, I'm going to be a doctor and I'm going to come home and there's nothing that's going to stop me." I went to my father's room. He was watching the ball game, chewing sunflower seeds. I waited between innings. It's what he liked to do after a long day of work. And I said, "Dad, I know that you're concerned about how you're going to pay for school, but I want you to know that I'm going to do my part and I'm going to help." And he looks at me, of course, as, "What on earth are you going to do?" Because I worked in the packing house, sweeping the floors, making minimum wage. So what I did is I put on the one suit that I owned. It was a navy blue suit, and I remember it well because it was one of those really itchy suits. And I borrowed a briefcase so I can look as professional as possible. And I wrote a contract. And in this contract, I said, "I'm a youth from this community who wants to be a doctor and come home and serve the community. This is how much I could afford with my parents and scholarships, and this is how much I needed." And it was the summer of 1990. So in the low desert, it can get up to 110, 115 degrees Fahrenheit. And there I was walking the streets of Coachella with a briefcase, walking into small businesses, talking to whoever would listen with his awkward, itchy blue suit. And I would hand them my contract and I would say, "I am offering you an opportunity to invest in your community. I am offering you an opportunity to invest in your community by investing in my education, because I promise you I will become a physician and I will come home to serve the community." And they gave me $20. $40 straight from the cashier. And there was moments where I got a lot of, "I'm sorry, son, I would like to, but we can't afford it right now." But it didn't discourage me, because in between those, I got a few hundreds. And that summer, I raised $2,000, which paid for 2 years' worth of school books. But more important than the money was the idea that a community came together throughout the Coachella Valley and believed in one of their own. Much like all the professors and counselors and high schools and universities and community colleges throughout this great country believe in you to make your dream a reality. So I set off to UCLA, graduated magna cum laude. Thank you. Went to Harvard Medical School. Thank you. I did a joint degree program with the Harvard Kennedy School of Government, received a master's in public policy. Then I went to the University of Pittsburgh to become a board-certified emergency medicine physician. Went back to Harvard to do a fellowship in international emergency medicine, focusing on humanitarian and disaster aid, and received a master's in public health from Harvard University's School of Public Health. And when I finished, after 17 years in pursuit of that education, I found empowerment along the way. I was told, there was an article from the Harvard Crimson Gazette, that I was the first Latino to have 3 graduate degrees from Harvard University. But more important than that was a commitment that I had to the community that I grew up in, to the people that taught me the values of hard work, all those like our parents that work in our restaurants and build our buildings with tired backs and calloused hands day after day after day with minimal rest. All those that dream of nothing more than to give their children the opportunities that they'd never had. All those that believe in all of you to get your education, to come home, just come home and serve others. And I fulfilled that promise I made when I was 17 years old. And I came home to serve the community. And the very first place that I started doing my community advocacy were in those trailer parks with farm workers, doing free public health education, free health care. I started a free clinic for the uninsured through an organization called Volunteers in Medicine. And now I'm mentoring young, bright, talented students that come from those trailer parks and those underserved areas who want nothing more than to be physicians and come home and serve their communities once they're done. In fact, I know that there's some of them here right now. I'd like them to stand up, please. Marcos, Ana. All the students and my future physician leader students, Alicia. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. It is now part of a program out of the University of California, Riverside School of Medicine, where I was a senior associate dean. I also worked on, as Adam said, the Coachella Valley Healthcare Initiative, where we brought together 9 community forums, the first regional healthcare summit with over 600 people participants to talk about our healthcare access barriers, but more importantly, the solutions to our healthcare access crises that we have here in the Inland Empire. And I decided to run when everybody told me that it was impossible. Just like when they told me when I was 17 years old that getting an education and becoming a physician from farm worker parents without a high school education was impossible. In fact, many told me, "How dare you run for Congress? Why don't you wait your turn?" And I told them, looking back, and I said, I don't have to ask permission to serve the community. And with the community support, hand in hand, arm in arm, making those phone calls, knocking on doors, we won the election. There is so much more now that we can do, because every step in your path towards that American dream and getting an education, you find empowerment along the way. When you learn arithmetic, when you learn how to read, and when you learn how to write, and when you learn how to have conversations, and then you begin to write about the issues that matter to your communities. You begin to speak up and have voice and give your grandparents and the ability to express their values. And that's what this pursuit of the American dream is all about. Because we have too many people that still drop out of high schools from the lack of hope and despair. We have too many people who are without jobs. There are too many people that work 2 or 3 part-time jobs and still cannot afford health care or their child's education. There are too many people that have told me that seniors who have told me that they have gone days without eating in order to save money to pay for their medicine. Too many of my students have come up to me in tears saying that they have to drop out of school for a while to work in the fields or in the restaurant for a whole year just to save money for 1 more semester. Those are the things that are unacceptable. Those are the things that should burn that fire inside you to make you want to study harder, to make you want to learn more, to make you want to graduate sooner, so that you can join that public discourse of solutions that we need in our country. But in order to pursue that American dream, and that American dream is not defined by just me and what I can give for myself. The American dream is not owning a house with a white picket fence and your BMW. The American dream is pursuing excellence with personal responsibility, knowing that it is only up to you to have that motivation to stay up later and work harder in order to achieve your excellence in your life. But it doesn't end there. And too often, too many of us want to separate those with partisan ideologies that make no sense. Because the other half and the beauty that makes this country the greatest country on earth is the value of service with social responsibility. That yes, we are our brothers and sisters' keepers. And yes, in this new time, in this new world, the sayings of the Popol Vuh is true. Yes, you are my other me. And so in pursuit of this new transformation in our communities, we strive for excellence with personal responsibility so that we can serve others to the best of our ability with social responsibility. And that is what I dare all of you here today and those that are watching online and on TV to do. To make that social commitment, to make that social contract first to yourselves in your hearts when you look at yourselves in that mirror and say, yo sí puedo. Second, to your families and those that have sacrificed so much for you to be here and to study and everything that you're doing. And third, to your community and to this great country who gave us all these opportunities that no matter where you're from, no matter what humble beginnings you start off with, no matter which obstacle you may find yourselves, that you can always succeed if you work hard and follow the rules and strive for your excellence. Before I close, I want to tell you a story. You know, this pin here is what they give us in Congress to let the security guards know that you're a congressperson so that they don't tackle you before you go onto the floor and vote. And they give it to us on our swearing-in day, and all my colleagues were asking me, where's your pin? Where's your pin? And because I refused to put it on. The security guards would stop me and say, who are you? I'd show them my badge, my temporary plastic badge, and they'd say, oh, okay. And they'd tell me, you put your pin on. I refused. I refused to put my pin on because that afternoon we had a little reception in my office in D.C. And in front of a little gathering, my mother was there, and I opened the package and I handed her this pin. And I said, Mom, yo sé qué tanto has sacrificado para esto. I know how much you have sacrificed. And her eyes teared up, and I said, there goes my speech. I can't say anymore. And I had her be the first person to put this pin on me. And I commenced to tell a story that taught me a valuable lesson, a story that my mother instilled in me of values of serving others, because I remember I was about 7, 8 years old, and my mother went to Mexicali, the border town, about an hour and a half drive away. It's a straight drive in the desert, and it was one of those really hot, boring drives, and it was a tough trip. But she promised to buy me my favorite food on earth. That's a mango when we get there. And I'm not talking about just any mango. You know what I mean. I'm talking about the good, big, cantaloupe-sized mangoes that are cut in the shape of flowers and sprinkled with lime and chili powder. That's right. That's right. And so this whole way to Mexicali, I was really looking forward to eating this mango on a stick. And we did our errands, and she finally bought me this mango on a stick, and it was a hot day, and I was looking right at it, and it was so juicy looking. Then another little boy comes walking up to us. And he was about 6, 5 years old, barefoot, ripped jeans, dirty appearance, and with the hungriest eyes looking at my mango. And my mother took my mango and gave it to him. And there I was standing there looking at this little boy walk away with my mango. And my mother taught me a valuable lesson that day. She taught me that no matter what conditions we live in, whether we have an education or not, whether we have money or not, there's always someone else that we can help. There's always someone else that we can serve. I challenge you to have that heart of a servant leader, to have that social commitment and social contract with others. And with that, I want to say thank you. And above all, God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Now we have a video clip to show on questions. We have them.
¿Qué tal? Mi nombre es Luz Gallego, soy directora de programas comunitarios aquí en la organización Totem Legal Center. Estamos ahorita en la ciudad de Paris. Estamos aquí con el grupo de nuestros estudiantes. Estamos aquí muy contentos porque estamos participando en este enlace. Más que nada, esta pregunta va para nuestro congresista, doctor Raul Ruiz, que es un ejemplo y es alguien que valoramos mucho, y queremos que por favor nos dé unas palabras de inspiración y pasos a seguir para nuestros estudiantes. Nuestros estudiantes son de migrantes, muchos de ellos han sido campesinos y ahorita están estudiando porque quieren seguir una profesión. Queremos, por favor, doctor Ruiz, que nos diga usted qué fue su inspiración y algo de inspiración para nuestros estudiantes, ya que usted viene de familia migrante.
Muchas gracias. Should I go up there? Muchas gracias, Luz, y saludos a los estudiantes que están ahí con ustedes. Mira, lo importante es tener una transformación de mente y conciencia, comenzando con los jóvenes. Una conciencia que no se enfoca en la injusticia o en las dificultades, una conciencia no de víctima, pero una conciencia de esperanza, una conciencia que nos vemos unos a otros con la esperanza que nosotros no somos un problema, pero que somos la solución. Y cuando comenzamos a inculcar esta conciencia y transformación de pensamiento en nuestros jóvenes, entonces nuestros jóvenes van a creer que ellos no son el problema, pero son la esperanza y el futuro de este país. We do not want to play catch up any longer. We have great disparities in education. And our focus is not to say, how can we be as good as, and how can we remedy our problems? But the focus is, how can we create new paradigms of education, new paradigms of learnings in our classrooms, new paradigms of success, so that we elevate all of us as a communities throughout our country. And we have the capacity. We have the ability. And so that's what I encourage all of us to think, because what we need is that transformation of conscience.
Have time for another question from the audience. We have our center podiums right there. If anybody would like to ask the Congressman a question.
Okay.
Wait, hold on, we can't hear you.
Hold on,
Hold
sir.
on, we
We're
can't
going to
hear
get you a microphone. Thank you.
Comments you made about health disparity is obvious, and I wonder what your thinking is about the impact on the Latino low-income population of Obama health program.
Well, we cannot separate health, education, and economic development. Too often we keep those in silos and we keep them separated. But there is actually a syzygy and there is actually a synergy that if you focus on one, you're improving the others. But what we have to do is combine them all together. Because those that graduate from high school, and even more so those that graduate from college, live longer, they live healthier, their families live healthier, and they have better jobs with a higher income and health insurance. So you see how they all play together. Better jobs equate to their children having better education. Better health and healthcare access means you can actually work in the jobs, right? You can study in school, and you can have a prepared mind to really fulfill your goals and aspirations. The Affordable Care Act is an imperfect law, but a step in the right direction. And one of the things that I have continuously mentioned in the things that we have to move forward and take the other foot and the other step in the right direction is to address our physician shortage crisis. We have great disparities in the state of California in general, with the Inland Empire being always stuck with the short end of the stick of those that don't have resources to take care of our patients. We don't have enough physicians. We have the worst health indices, and we have the highest unemployment. And we have one of the highest rates of high school dropout rates and lowest college students. You see how they all work together. So what we have to do is really inspire pipelines for our students to fill in those workforces and have the Affordable Care Act now address the physician shortage crisis that we have. For example, in the Coachella Valley, we have one physician per 9,000 residents in our medically underserved areas. The medically appropriate recommendation is 1 to 2,000. So all you pre-med students here and watching, we need you. We need you bad. And we need you to come home. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we're not going to take any questions. Thank you, Congressman, for your inspirational speech.
Thank you, thank you. Congressman Ruiz, we're very proud of you. Come stand back up here, go over here. Let's do another round of applause. Okay, Doctor, for your accomplishments and lifetime service to our community, we would like to award you our Lead Education and Advocacy Medallion of Honor.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Murillo, for this great honor and this medal. I really appreciate it. I want to tell all of you that this is a medal that I share with all of you. Just like any success that I've had is not my own. The only thing I can claim my own are my own failures, and my success are all of ours, of our communities. And the honor is mine to be here and be able to participate in these events and to inspire the youth that are here and all those around our country to never, ever give up. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so it's our cafecito time, break time. Okay, so I'll ask our panelists to exit stage right. We want to make sure to get Congressman Ruiz